Hello, sunshines. How art thou? How was your day? How was your Sunday? How was your Monday? And how was your crocheting? How was everything? This is going to be one special podcast today. I got someone special on today, so I'm going to go with this first. Make sure if you want to join the football fantasy, let me know and I'll give you the information for the football fantasy. And a couple of people asked me about the Popl, which is like your digital business card. If you want one, in the description below, there is the information for 25% off. And the last thing is if you want to join my Diva squad, just click join and all the information for being a Diva squad will be there. So, after I got rid of all of that, how are you, Aunt Jean?
I am fine, Shauna. I am fine. I'm very well today. I had a good day so far.
Awesome. So I talk about you all the time. Like I always mention you because I feel like I wouldn't even do anything with crocheting at all if it wasn't for you introducing it to me. So I also tell people that you taught me because you did. You actually taught me how to do certain things, but I think I took it like a little bit over and beyond. Like I
You
didn't
did.
do
You did.
exactly what you told me to do, but I did learn. I did learn. Did you think that I was gonna pick it up like that?
No, no, no. Because the first time, what we taught you was how to do a chain and a single crochet. And the next time we saw you, you had a quilt or a blanket with the football markings, all the numbers, the Giants. I think it was the Giants, and you had your son's name on there. We were trying to figure out where did you get this from, and you said off of my phone, which was
I
amazing to us
did.
because we were all not ancient people, but older people, and we weren't really into cell phones like that, and we weren't definitely weren't taking patterns off of YouTube and that kind of stuff then because it wasn't really that popular at the time. But what I did remember and what you had told us, what you told me was that you were not too you weren't too crazy about it until you saw us sending bags and bags of things out to the Native Americans and the indigenous people in South Dakota. And you were impressed by that because we had the stuff all on display. Commercial garbage bags full of hats, scarves, blankets, all kinds of stuff. And we had it on display because we would just crochet and crochet and crochet. And then we would run out of room, and the library would tell us, you got to, because we were crocheting in the library, and they told us, you all got to get rid of this stuff because we don't have no place to put it. And what we did was a young woman who was going out there, she was working with the young people because they have a high suicide rate among the Native Americans. And she said she would take it back to the young people and the people. But how was she going to pay for it? And somebody came in and saw the display and bought 3 items for like $50. So that paid for her shipping costs. And we were supposed to see photos, but we didn't. But you said that's what really impressed you and let you know that something good could come out of us sitting around and doing this kind of stuff. Because we were all middle aged women and mature women and retired women. And for us, it was just a hobby. It was a hobby to be doing things. We gave them to charity everywhere, nursing homes. Um, we gave them to the little place for the little babies that nobody wanted here in Jersey City, and
Hmm.
everybody liked it. We sent stuff down to Haiti. We sent blankets to Haiti, and somebody said, "Why do they need blankets in Haiti?" It was an orphanage for somebody we knew, and they had 15 orphans, so we sent about 30 blankets down there, and it gives them a way to identify themselves, identify their space, and have something that belongs to them when they age out of the orphanage. Makes
Right.
me feel good. And we always giving hats to the homeless people on Ocean Avenue and Jackson Avenue and whatnot. These are the local drags in Jersey City. And you just hand them out, and you see people who crochet all over. It's a lot of people who crochet. What do they call closet crocheters? closet needlework people. I met a guy in a wheelchair that used to work out at I can't think of the name of the place that makes yarn. And this young lady always had a handbag with a bottle and a crochet hook and a spool of yarn, and she was always teaching the kids on Ocean Avenue how to crochet. To me, that was amazing.
Really?
Yes, she was teaching the boy. One little boy didn't want to go play. She told him, "No, you have to go play with your kids now." She was giving them crochet hooks and yarn and teaching them how to crochet on Ocean Avenue. Young people, elementary school kids.
I
She was
never
really
saw
good.
anything like that. Never. I never saw anything like that. I do know it was this lady. She was not like wrapped too tight, but
Mhm,
she was
mhm,
when she saw
mhm,
that I crocheted, she was asking me how did I do like the letters and stuff like that. But it looked like she
mhm,
knew how to do way more than that. But I guess she didn't take it further. But
mhm,
she was out
mhm,
in the street and I was standing on the bus stop just crocheting and she saw what I was
mhm,
doing and she was
mhm,
telling me what stitches she used and what she used to do, but she never took it further. So
mhm, mhm,
I was impressed because you never know who out there crochets or do
mhm,
whatever, but
mhm,
I was impressed. It's
mhm.
just that, the street got her.
But a friend of mine, Margaret Dabney, she used to do fine crochet, like christening blankets and the whole suit, with the little outfits that they have for the children for white when they're being crocheted down to, 15 inches on the hems and whatnot and that kind of stuff. And she did blankets. She would do blankets for king size beds and covers for throws for all kinds of sofa beds and stuff. I never got any one from her though. I did get hats, but the one thing she couldn't do was hats. She could do all. She and her sister both crocheted beautifully, but they neither one of them knew how to make hats. But I took a, and she would always rescue me from these blizzards and hurricanes and things. And I went down there one time and I had a ball of yarn and two hooks, which she didn't really need because she had pounds and pounds of yarn like Shauna does. And I said, "Come on, I'm gonna teach you how to make hats." So I told her, "You do your circle, you little join that, and then you put 12 double crochets in the circle." And I showed her out to the feet. You increase until you get up to like 48 or 52 stitches in the uh, and then that's covers the crown of your head. And she said, "What do I do?" I said, "That's it. You can do anything you want now." And she started turning out hats like every half hour or so. And
Mhm.
I finally did get 3 hats, but I never got a blanket or anything. But I remember, but I did get free room service when I went in, like 5-star treatment during blizzards. Do
Oh
you
my
want to sleep
god.
on the long sofa or do you want to sleep on this one? And they would be bringing me drinks and wouldn't let me do the dishes. And Gene, don't do this, don't do that. See here, sit here, and they'd be, "Hey, would you like a daiquiri?" And the next day they'd bring me something else. So it was really nice. They were good. She and her husband were good to me. They were good to me. She's
I
gone
didn't know
now,
you
but
drink daiquiris.
everybody drinks daiquiris. Everybody
Not
drinks daiquiris.
everybody.
Yeah, most people try. I mean, everybody has something they drink, but I wasn't going to tell them to make me scotch and soda because nobody carries scotch. That's what I liked. That was the easiest thing to order when I first started going out. So that's what I drank, scotch and soda on the rocks.
But I never ever knew you drunk that.
Everybody does.
Not
Everybody drinks.
everybody.
But they don't tell people. But most people drank when they were younger, and you don't go out and drink under the table, but you go out and some. What's the easiest thing to order when you go to a social affair when they're having what do you call it open bar. The
Mhm.
guys are busy because everybody's drinking fast, so you just go order the easiest thing you can do, scotch and soda or rum and coke. Those two things are easy to order, and it doesn't, you get it, and it doesn't take them long to make it up. But they have something that I did try one time. We went to New York. A friend of ours took us over to a play, and we went to dinner. Then we went to a play, and I ordered Cafe Royale, which is regular coffee with a shot of rum in it. And everybody, "What is that?" That's rum, and same thing. And yeah, we had a good time that night. We saw Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis. He hit the number really big, really big. This was over 60 years ago. He hit number really big. And there were 8 couples of us that used to hang around together. The guys were all from Jersey City and they called themselves 4 roses, and there
Four
was a bud.
roses.
4 roses and a bud. So it was like 6 or 7 couples, and he paid for everything for us. All we had to do was get to New York. But
Oh wow.
the outstanding was seeing Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis in Pearly, and that was the guy from MASH. What was his name? Alan Alda. That was his first thing. That's how long ago that was. That was his first
Yeah, I
big
was
thing.
about to say that must have been a while ago.
That was a while ago. Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis. In the
Oh
'60s.
wow.
In the '60s. But I'll
Have
never
you
forget
ever
that.
have you
Hmm?
ever crocheted something for someone famous?
For what?
Have you ever crocheted for someone who is famous?
No, no, no. Mm-mm,
No.
mm-mm, mm-mm,
You know a
mm-mm.
lot of people. Like our family is big. Your side of the family is huge. You didn't know anyone famous?
I know some famous people. I think. No, no, not really. Even people that I worked for. I've worked with a couple of geniuses, but I didn't crochet for them either. I just don't crochet. I just crochet for. I give them to take down to the program, the drug program down the street, and I just pass them out on the street. I don't crochet for.
Georgine, don't,
I don't.
that's
I've crocheted for people.
dangerous.
Mm-mm.
Yes, it is.
Because I don't, I just do plain crochet. I don't do anything outstanding. I don't follow patterns because I don't feel like counting stitches and counting rows and all that. And if the edges don't come out right, I just crochet down the edge and make it look right. And
Of
nobody has
course.
only one person has complained. Only one person has complained. One person said the hat was too big, but this person was really a priest, a friend of mine. He had a big head, and he had a really big head, and he said it was too big. So he said they laughed at it when they saw it, but he used it as a nightcap, so he was happy with it. He was happy with it. And I gave a friend of mine a white scarf one time. I thought it was nice because it was like mohair. It was, but it shed. And I didn't realize she had a black coat. And she came back and she said, "I got an ugly scarf." And I thought, well, you'll never get another one. That's all. It was that simple. It was that simple. Is that wrong? Is that wrong?
Hey, Ma,
Huh?
did this stuff? Did he go in the basement?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh.
Um, I'll tell you
I
why.
never did that.
No, we're Jonathan's fixing dinner now. This is
Oh,
his
okay.
night and tomorrow night are his night off. So he's cooking dinner, and I'll clean up. Now tomorrow night when I'll cook for myself. That's usually what I do now. But
Oh.
I just crochet. I crochet for I don't even crochet for things. I started knitting some scarves for my children 3 years ago, and they're rolled up. I'm looking at them right now because they want peculiar colors. 3 people want bright orange scarves. Somebody else wants a purple one. And when I asked them what their favorite color was, I told them it was purple, and they said, "Well, don't buy me anything." I said, "I'm not buying you anything. I'm making a scarf because I know this particular person travels light. They travel light,
Mhm.
and they don't a minimalist, a
Right.
minimalist." Yeah, so I'm not going to give them anything they don't want to use. But I start a lot of things I never finish. I have some crocheted pillows here that I'm looking at that I got from a thrift store, and they're really antique. These things are antiques. The kind of stuff that well, I did a pattern one time, a square for a spread because somebody hasn't been encouraging me to do a bedspread for myself, and I have a 3/4 bed, which is 6 inches smaller than a double bed and 6 inches larger than a twin bed. So, and nobody makes sheets for these things. Nobody makes
No.
blankets for them. Nobody makes anything. But it's nice because actually, I think this is what the people used to use way back in the day when they didn't have a whole lot of space. Because I've been in a couple of homes. I went to North Carolina one time, and they had a regular bed, and it didn't really fit in the room, the bedroom for the houses they had down south. You know, so I think that's what it is. But it's comfortable for me because I sleep on one side of the bed, and I have the other side piled up with magazines and books and things,
The
and I still have room to roll around.
hey, it's your bed. It's your bed.
Hmm.
Do you
Hmm. Hmm.
crochet for money. Like I that was what got me over. When I started crocheting, I didn't think of doing anything for money, but it was times where I didn't have and people said my stuff was nice. So I would sell it. Did you do that?
I have only I don't usually crochet for money. I just crochet sometimes. And if somebody says they like it, all right, give me $7 for it. I did hats and scarves one time, and people give me like 25 or 30. I've done a couple of the, what do you call them? The people from Jamaica, the Rasta scarves and hats.
Mhm.
I did,
Wow.
and I did. Oh, I did a scarf. I did a black, red, and green scarf for somebody. It was black with the colors on the end, and the woman was so pleased. I told her $45, and when she looked at it, she said, "This is the last scarf I'll have to buy in a lifetime." And she was just very pleased with it. I don't know whether she still uses it. And I did one for the girls in the library. She wanted one for the Giants for her boyfriend, but his birthday wasn't until November, and this was August. And she showed it to him, and he wouldn't wait until his birthday. He was wearing a 7 foot scarf with double yarn, and it was 9.5 inches wide, double yarn, 7.5 feet long, and he was big, so it wasn't. It was just barely past his knees. And
Wow.
somebody met me on the street and said, "Did you make that scarf for so and so's boyfriend?" I said, she said, "I am so glad to see a real scarf on a man," because she said those little wimpy things that they make for men are just trifling. But what I want to do is make one for um, the Ravens. But I have to get their colors coordinated for myself, and I want every Raven to have one, but they will pay for them. That's my goal.
But how you
That's my
gonna make
goal.
something and they don't know they getting?
Well, I'll show it to somebody, a promoter for them. And if everybody that works for the Ravens has one, they're going to make everybody buy one. It's a 7 foot scarf.
So why
It's a
don't you
7 foot.
do a Grafghan one? They would definitely pay for that.
Okay, I'll come up with the colors. I do a purple, black, and yellow, basically. But there's some other colors in it too, because and then they have the colors from the Maryland. They have some of those colors in there too, and it's just a bit much. I wouldn't put it on both ends. I would only put it on one end of the scarf. I wouldn't try to do the whole scarf, in a whole bunch of colors. So the basic scarf, that would be on the end. The raven symbol would be on one end of the scarf, and the other color, the length of the scarf would be black, yellow, and gold, and purple, because that's the feather, the blue from the feathers.
You can't do that for
I've
Ravens
seen some of your
nowadays.
stuff, and I know what you're working on now, so that's simple, huh?
But you can't do that for them.
What
They're
did you
these
say?
those are young men, young boys who want to look flashy.
That is flashy. That is flashy. I know the
You
rate.
want them
But
to
see,
pay
there
for
are.
it though.
If I do, even if they didn't want them, you don't know. The people in Baltimore and in Maryland are extremely, extremely. Um, what do you call them? They're ravenous fans. They're
Yeah.
ravenous fans because the Ravens came in, and the first season they played, they won the Super Bowl. That was their first season, and nobody expected to even have a team, let alone have a winning team, because as everybody remembers, the people from Maryland, the Baltimore. I know this is a crochet show, but this is what we're talking about. But they woke up one morning and the Baltimore Colts had moved someplace else at night after dark, and everybody who's back in the day, everybody knew you do not move out of your apartment after sundown because that means that you're sneaking out without paying the landlord. This was the thing. You're not supposed to move out of your apartment after sundown.
I think
You're not
your
supposed to move out of your.
I think your internet is going off and on. Hello, Arjine. Hello.
What happened?
I think your
I'm back
internet is
now.
going off and on.
I'm back. Are you
You
back?
good? You
What
you good
happened?
now? Your internet was going off and
Hmm?
on.
Oh,
I think you're
okay.
good now.
Okay.
That's all.
But
Oh,
that
okay.
was, I don't know whether there was a rule, but most times you just were not allowed to move out after dark because that meant the landlord was home asleep and you'd be moving out without paying the rent. That's what it was a symbol of. And that's what everybody thought of the Colts. The Colts snuck out in the middle of the night, which was not nice. And even though I didn't live in Maryland at the time, I still tell people I'm from Baltimore and the Ravens are my team. The Ravens are my team.
Okay. Do you know
I'm not a
why
hardcore,
they snuck out?
huh?
What was the real reason why they snuck out?
Because somebody paid them money to go to Cleveland.
No, they wanted to. They moved the team.
And they moved the team because somebody paid them.
Yeah, they sold the team.
Yeah, they sold the team. And they didn't tell the people
Wait,
in
the
Baltimore.
whole team went somewhere else?
Yeah,
I never
yeah,
knew that.
yes. They moved out at night and after midnight. After midnight. And when they were,
What? I never knew that.
yes.
Didn't Buffalo Bills?
Wow.
I don't know who else did that.
The
All I
Buffalo
know was
Bills did it
all I
too.
know was Baltimore. The Colts did it. And I'll do scarves for anybody except the Patriots from Boston, right? The Patriots in Boston, because they always trying to steal the game. And Philadelphia. I don't do no. I don't do for the Colts because they left Baltimore. I would charge them another $25 for their scarves to go on top of everybody else. I would do a scarf for somebody for $45. But I say for the men, I want it long. You know what? I saw a movie on television one time for what was the name of that movie? Mad Hot Ballroom. And they were trying to solve the problem of what can we do with these children after 911, elementary school and middle school kids. And they started doing ballroom dancing for the fifth graders. And it's really fantastic. If you can pull that up and watch it, you would love it. It's a fantastic movie. But one of the guys that was teaching him, we had a woman and a man teaching him, and the man was a moderate sized man, maybe 5'8", 5'10". And they showed a film, one shot of him coming around the corner in a full length coat in the wintertime with his scarf, and his scarf was down to his knees. And I said, wow, that looks so impressive. So that's when I started making the long scarves because I thought it looked cool on the men.
Wow. That I never made a scarf that huge, that big.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, they said that my scarves were really small, so I started making them a little bit bigger, and
Mm-hmm.
that was a good size. Some people still complain, but I thought it was a good size. But a Grafkin, even though I try to make it like a good size, like 300 by 30, it's still, being that I'm putting all those colors together, it still gets a little bit
Mm-hmm.
small. But I think that a regular simple scarf, like the ones that you make,
Mm-hmm.
and you make yours like real big and thick and long, I think that is something that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people now cherish way more than my Grafton scarf.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I tried for a woman, I would make it maybe 6.5, 7 inches wide. I don't count stitches. I just make it wide, 6 or 7 inches. And the same thing with blanket, and I make it long.
Okay.
For a woman, I would make it maybe 5.5 feet or 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
No, I wouldn't go over 6 feet for a woman. And for children, I'd make them a little bit shorter and not quite so wide. I have one that I
Mm-hmm.
did make for somebody. We have a doctor in my church, and he's from Nigeria, and I made him one green and white. But I can't. When I have the scarf, he's never in church, and when he's in church, I never have the scarf. So this has been about 5 years. I have been dragged, and I don't even know where it is right now. I couldn't find it
Oh
if he
wow.
wanted me to, because
Oh
I've got
wow.
bags and trunks of stuff and suitcases of stuff of yarn, and I'm sitting here now. I brought some back from Maryland, gold and beige, and I'm looking at it. It's sitting at the foot of my bed now, and I'm looking at it because everything I do is either I'm sitting on my bed or in my bed, and I'm sitting here with the television, and I haven't seen the cat yet. I don't know where he went. I'm surprised he's not in here being nosy. But I enjoy crocheting, just crocheting for fun. I'm not trying to make any money on anybody because I don't know how to. I'm not a good person, a salesperson. I don't sell chances. I tried to sell Avon 15 times and that doesn't work, So I'll just
Why? Because
crochet.
you be mean to them. If they don't pay you,
No,
be mean.
no. I'm not a good salesperson. I don't go out and do that kind of stuff. I did,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I ever did well. Somebody told me I don't finish things, and that was somebody I hadn't seen. That was somebody I went to high school with, and I came out of high school in '57. And that particular person, she was like 3 years ahead of me, so she was a senior when I was a freshman. And when I talked to her, excuse me, about 4 years ago, she told me, Gene, you never finish anything. I said, oh, that gave me insight. She said, oh, you don't finish things.
Oh wow.
I have some water here. I have,
Yeah, I always have my water, my handy dandy water.
well, this is just because I drink tap water. I'm not going to pay for water. Even if they tell, I like spring water, and somebody said, how do I know spring water? I said, when I see it coming up out of the hole in the ground, because I'm from the country and we had a spring. But this is water, and I made some pineapple syrup this morning, and I put
What's
some
that?
pine. I don't like water. I put pineapple syrup. I make simple syrup, which is 2 cups of sugar and a cup of water, and you stir it around until it dissolves. Then you put like a cup and a half or 2 cups of fruit down, and then you simmer it, and then you let it sit until it cools off, and then that's what I put in my water. I've had 3 glasses of water today, and that's not. I don't drink water. Period. Period. I only take water when I take my medicine,
Oh,
and that
Jean,
may
that's
be.
bad. You gotta drink water without
I know.
sugar.
I know. Somebody told me I can't. I have to have flavor in it, and that's the only way I can get the pineapple flavor. I have pineapple syrup. I have peach syrup. Um, I have some other kind of syrup. I think I might have some strawberry syrup out there, but I don't put a whole lot in. I don't put a whole lot in. I put maybe a teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons in, and this is you see the size of the glass. And somebody gave me
Mhm.
those glasses. Those are I think they're Waterford glass. I have 3 sets of Waterford crystal, and I'm trying to figure out who am I going to leave that to. But I've already broken one of them, so. So. But
Man,
I watch. I,
um,
I do
huh?
watch you crochet. I do watch you crochet. And one thing I see when you're teaching people how to crochet and you're looking at the camera like you're looking at me, the left-handed people, what you do with your right hand, the left-handed people have to do with their left hand, like they're looking in the mirror.
Right.
So it shouldn't be hard for left-handed people to learn how to crochet when they watch you. It should be harder for the right-handed people when they watch you because you're
I
using
never
your
thought
right
about
hand. You're
that.
telling. I know you
I
didn't.
never thought about
I
it.
know you. Left-handed people should be able to learn from you very easily, very easily. And I
I
have a
never
set of
thought about
I have about 5 pages of left-handed instructions I can give to you, and you can adapt them for your like give them out to whoever your clients are.
I don't want to teach, but I
Mm-hmm.
do because the way I crochet and the way I hold the hook is totally different than others, and they may not. I don't know. I just feel like I have to show them the way I do it, even though everybody keeps saying I'm a good teacher when it comes to stuff like that. I get I get kind of like discouraged. I get real discouraged because I feel like if they don't
But
get it, I take it like to heart.
personally, you take it personally. But I went to the Newark Museum one time. This was ages ago, and they say this was for beginners. And this woman, what she told us, the only thing I learned from her was at this session was how how you have to needle the needle to put this blocks together. The
Yes.
only thing I learned from her was how to thread the needle with the yarn. But
Okay.
she said when you crochet or do any kind of needlework, you hold your equipment however you have to hold it. As long, no matter how strange it looks to anybody else, if that's what works for you, that's what works for you. But I like to have people learn the correct way and then you do after you learn the correct way, then you go out, because if you teach somebody else, you need to teach them the right way.
Right.
And that's anything you do. I think that's anything you do. If you're going to teach somebody how to read, you have to teach them to read correctly, then whatever. But yeah, but she said do whatever you want to do. And she was a professional crocheter. She said people would go to like Saks Fifth Avenue, or Lord, at the time Lord and Taylor's, and those kind of places, and they would see something that they wanted crocheted. I want one of these, but I'm not gonna pay $1,800 for it. Can you make one of these for 800? And she would look at it and she would do the pattern. Now, one of your cousins and one of my nephews crochets without a pattern. That's Matthew Bird. Did you know he crocheted?
No.
Matthew crochets without a pattern. And he's been
Really?
doing this. He's been crocheting since he was in high school. And he's 50 now, either 52, 50 or 52. He's
So who started crocheting? Because you said that you didn't learn with Aunt Joyce, and her grands are who started?
But don't forget, I'm at Matthew's 50. At Matthew's 50, I'm 82. So he did. I don't know who taught me how to crochet. I don't know who taught me how to knit or how to do needlework. Joyce always, well, our aunt, her aunt, and my sisters always said that even though she's the one that did home economics, she never sewed on a machine. She never sewed by hand. And Judy, our other sister, would sew all the time. And they remember me as a child. My mother had sewn, had made something, and she had it hanging up on a hanger. But I wanted to make a dress for my doll, so I just cut some material out the back of the dress and made a dress for my doll. I don't think I never got beatings. Don't worry about that. I never got beatings. But Joyce said Judy and I would always sew. I went to my prom when I was in college. I went to a junior college, so it was my second year. And I remember I was in Pennsylvania in redneck country. And Mama sent the material for me and everything I needed to make this gown with the pattern on a Greyhound bus. And I went and picked it up and made my dress by hand.
Oh wow.
And
Wow.
one of my fellow students, who was high end and having a very high end wedding, she made her wedding dress up there at that school. And she for $52, she said, this was back in the 50s, but she said her family would have been horrified if they knew how much she paid for her wedding gown. But it is what it is, whatever works for you.
Right.
Hmm. But I
Exactly.
crocheted up there. I knitted a sweater for myself when I was up there. And I don't know how I did it, but it had sleeves and everything. I wore that sweater all the time and don't have a clue where it is now. Don't have a clue.
That happens to be a lot. I crochet stuff and don't know how I did it. I have
Hmm.
no idea how I came up with it. I just know back in the days I was making hats and bags and stuff, but never knew how to make a granny square.
Hmm.
I had to come to the library because that's where you guys taught me how
Hmm.
to do a granny square. And I don't remember who it was, but it was a lady who went like little by little to teach me how to do a granny square
Hmm.
because I'm
Hmm.
making bags and scarves and all of this stuff, but never knew how to do a granny square. I skipped the basics and went straight into other
Hmm.
stuff. I
Hmm.
don't know
Hmm.
how or
Hmm.
why, but it was not something I wanted to do at all. Did my mom know that you, because I talked about this a lot with on my podcast, how I started coming because you
Hmm.
wanted to get me out the house. I was depressed. I was just not doing nothing. I was
Hmm.
just sitting home doing nothing. So you said come to the library, hang out with
Hmm.
some of the girls. That's what you said. Hang out with some of the
Hmm.
girls. And I said no. Well, I didn't. I kept saying yes. Okay, I'll go, but I never went because I wasn't interested. And then one day you asked me like a good like 4 times, and I said okay, okay, I'll go. But I didn't. Did my mom, because you told me my mom told you to get me out the house. Do she know to this day that you told me that?
We bothered you until you came. Is that what you're saying? that we kept bothering. Because see, we weren't. I might have said girls, but we weren't girls to you. We were all a bunch of old ladies because we were all over 50. We were all retired. Most of
Yeah.
us were retired, and we had retired. We had a retired nurse, but we were giving advice to each other because you could talk to her about medical problems, and she would help you solve your problems. And we had other people there who did other things, who could give you advice on how to get stuff done, how to get paperwork done for different agencies and whatnot. And we did sometimes we did more eating than we did crocheting because we would have, if somebody dropped a hat on the floor, we would have food. We had good food down there. One of the directors from the library used to love to come to our parties. Every time we had a party, he always showed up at our parties, and other people had a good time down there too. We made the prayer shawls and whatnot. But what they had told me was that of course you needed to get out of the house, and you and I were the only ones in Jersey City to kind of carry ourselves together. If I had a problem, I could call you, and because of your illness, your medical background, medical problem years ago, they would always call them on. Mom, go over there and talk to Shauna because she's having a meltdown, and I would go over there and bring you out of it. And I do also remember that you told me you had the best Christmas window on the block.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yep. Yep. I
Did
sure
they give
did.
you a certificate or anything? They did give you a certificate?
No.
Fantastic, fantastic. I've got another
No.
trunk of Christmas. I've got another trunk of Christmas decorations here. If you want some of them,
No,
come pick
thank
out
you.
whatever you want. Do you still sell it? Huh? You don't do
No.
Christmas?
I do
Not
Christmas, but
like
I'm
that,
not.
right?
No, 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 no. Mm-mm. Thank you, Roslyn.
Mm-hmm.
Roslyn sent a little a donation to the channel. Thank you so much. They love
Mm-hmm.
you. They love
Mm-hmm.
you, Aunt Jean.
Okay. Okay. I love you too. I love you too. I love it. It's good though. I like to see young people doing stuff, and I like to see young people being able to take care of themselves. And they want me to. My church finally decided to go. They've been walking around the neighborhood for quite a while, trying to encourage the young people and talk to people. But I said I don't walk with them because when I wanted to go out and sing because I'm in the church choir, nobody wanted to go out there. I wanted to go stand on the corners with the drug dealers and sing the choirs because we're pretty good. We were doing some pretty good gospel music at the time, and people would have been encouraged or uplifted, I think. But they didn't want to do that. Now they want to go. I told them I'm 82. I don't want to go out there walking now. Besides that, I walk to church. I was walking, going to church 7 days a week. Five Sunday, I would go Saturday for choir rehearsal. Then I would go on the weekday masses because we have a mass in the Catholic Church. You go to church every day if you want to, and I walk to church. I still walk to church. I walk up Claremont Avenue Hill and over Ocean Avenue down to Forest Street, and I talk to the young men on the block, and they laugh and talk, and they think I'm crazy, and they know my son John Wayne, but I just try to encourage them. That's all I can do. Sometimes I tell them, this is not what your grandmother meant for you, and this is not what your family wanted for you, and you need to go. I invite them to church. Can't do anything about that, but I always talk to them. And one of the
Yeah.
one of the young guys saw me the other day. Hey, beautiful. I said, you're not supposed to tell them my real name. So they all laughed about that. They thought that was funny. I said, I'm undercover. I'm undercover. I'm undercover.
Everybody knows you on the block.
I,
Everybody. I could just be standing there with you. Hey, RG. Hey, RG. I'm like,
mhm,
really?
mhm, mhm.
Everybody knows you. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, everywhere you go, somebody knows you.
But something that I read one thing in a little magazine just now. Plus we had when I first started riding, I've been riding the 81 bus for eons, for eons. Because I worked nights out at Raritan, which was at Roche Biomedical, and that's now LabCorp, the same people you used to work for. And there was a bus driver. His first trip in the morning was 5:30, going from Gates Avenue to downtown. And this man would greet every person that got on his bus. Good morning. How you doing? How's everything going? Everybody knew him, and up until the time he went off at 3:30, he spoke to everybody that got on his bus and everybody that got off his bus. One day I got on the bus and he said, "You want to see some pictures of my children?" And he showed me these pictures of these airplanes. He had these planes that you fly with the motors and you can put the motors in them and all that kind of stuff. I said, "Where do you keep these things?" He said, "Right now I have one on the dining room table." But that impressed me, to have somebody that's, and people would wait for him when they were coming home from work. They would miss buses just so they could ride with him at night coming
Wow.
home and give them an uplifting thing. And they said one morning when he was going to work at Christmas time, there was a lady standing down by Booker T, and she was standing there holding a homemade chocolate cheesecake for him. And people would give him gifts and stuff, money, and they
Oh,
just
wow.
loved him. He was a good person. He was really a good person. And that impressed me. I said, wow, when can I speak to everybody? Now, what I just read in a magazine was the guy, I don't know what happened. I guess the guy was really sick or something. And um, he promised God, if you let me live, I will speak to 20, I will talk to 20 people a day. And the question, and asked them one question. And the question was, if you knew you were going to die in 24 hours, what would you be doing?
Mm,
Think about that. Anybody that's listening now, think about that. If you knew you had 24 hours to live and only 24 hours, what would you do differently? You don't have to answer. That's a rhetorical question. But think about it, because we never know when we're going to be called home.
that's true.
Even
That's
though
true.
I don't know if you want to go into this kind of stuff, but with COVID, everybody has COVID. I got my shots, and as soon as they tell me I can get the booster, I'm going to go get the booster. As soon as I found out you could get something for what is that? That thing that they get after they get chicken pox. Um, I can't think of what it is. But anyway, as soon as I found out you could get a shot for that, I was down there and like the next day. You don't have an appointment, I'll wait. Get that stuff for me. But even if something happened to me now, I have gotten what he was promised me, which was 4 score and 7 or whatever it is. But I've done it. I'm 80 years old, so I've lived. I've done what I wanted. I didn't do everything I'd like to do, but I've done. I've done enough. I've done enough. Maybe I haven't done enough because that's why I'm still here. They say the good people die young so they won't be corrupted. The old people stay here so they get a chance to repent. I said, okay, okay.
Okay.
That's what an old somebody that was 30 years older than me when I was 50. Somebody who was 80 told me that, and yeah, yeah.
So now you telling me, and I'm in my 40s.
Yeah, well, other people too. Other people. Some people don't know when they have a chance to repent and do what they have to do, and you don't have to knock yourself out. You don't have to go out there trying to change the world. Just be smile at people and say,
Hmm.
because when I walk to church, I say good morning to everybody, almost
You do.
everybody I come to, and they
Definitely.
respond. Every once in a
You
while, you'll
do.
get somebody that won't respond, and that's all it takes to save somebody's life or whatever. Because there's some people who are so far into into whatever's going on, to this thing that's going around now, that they can't all they need somebody to smile at them and say
Hmm.
hello and have a good day. Just have a good day. You don't have to get into
Hmm.
a long conversation with them. Just, hey, I like that color, and I don't give out compliments if I don't believe them.
I know. I know. I definitely know that. But I never spoke about this. I speak about a lot of things when it comes to you, but I never really spoke about the fact that I think I just started. When I talk about you, I only start at the library.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that we go way back. Like when
Mm-hmm.
I was a baby, you was my babysitter,
Mm-hmm.
and I would be there all the time. When I
Mm-hmm.
was a little girl, do you think I was gonna grow up to be like what I'm doing now, crocheting? Like,
No, no,
no,
no.
right?
Mm-mm. But I'm glad to see you. I have some pictures here for Shauna too, when she was a little one, because my husband was an avid photographer, and she was the sub. If she was there, she was a subject. She was the subject, and I have some good pictures of you. But and the people that are watching now, to encourage the young people, not just themselves. Maybe we missed a lot. maybe some of us missed a lot when we were coming. We didn't have people to encourage us, but we did because we were in one-room schools in the South, and the black teachers were going to make us learn. You didn't have an option about Johnny not reading. They were going to make you read. You were going to read, or they were going to break you. Um, but encourage. I talk to people and I ask the young people, "What do you want to do when you get out of school? What do you want to do if we let you go up?" And I did speak to one girl who was 8 years old. And I asked, I said, her father was a doctor, her mother was a doctor.
I got one.
So I asked her, I said, so what do you want to do when you grow up? When you go to school? She says, I'm going to Harvard to be a lawyer. I said, oh, excuse me. She's 8 years old and she already knows what she wants to do. But you see young people who are coming out of high school don't have a clue what they want to do. I want to go to college, but what do you want to do in college? I don't know. I just want to go. Come on, you got to do better than that.
Yeah.
You do better than that. And make sure they read. Make sure these children read, whether they want to read comic books or whatever. Whatever they want to read, you read. But I go in people's homes who are supposed to be Christian, and I don't see a Bible, I don't see a crucifix, I don't see anything. Oh, and some people told me, oh, I can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that?
Yeah.
Can't be that. That's like, I don't believe in Jesus. It's a good thing he believes in you. Put some books in your room. Let the children see you reading. I go in there and I don't see a book, and my books are in the basement. What good is that? What good is that? And the same thing people say, where are your, people that wear glasses, where are your glasses? In my pocketbook. Is your pocketbook blind, or are you the one going blind? That's what I tell people that, and look at them. We just need to get together as a people and do what we have to do. We have to do because nobody else.
It's finished.
Huh?
It's finished.
Jonathan said dinner's ready. If we don't take care of ourselves, nobody. It's obvious to people who think and read and can see that nobody else is going to rescue us except us.
Right.
Nobody's going to pull us out of this. Nobody else. And we have to stick together. And for the young people, all white people are not bad, and all black people are not good to you. So, be discerning about who you tell your business to and who you ask for advice. Once you find out they're against you, just walk away. Walk away.
That's true. Miss Pizzy Peach, she loves you. Aunt Jean, thank you for these wonderful words of encouragement and sassy tough love. Aw, you got
Peace
some
out.
good love going
Try to
on.
tell people, peace out. You said you like to laugh, and I'll tell them one story. Oh, ouch, my knee. Oh,
You okay?
I banged him. No, I banged my knee about 20 years ago, and since I was 20 years younger, it didn't bother me, so I didn't bother it, and now it's bothering me. So I can't even turn over. And I have a patch that I put on there, but every time I put the patch on, the cat wants to come and sniff my knee. He just sits sniffing at it all the time. I said, I don't know what to do with him right now.
I'm not
But
used
is that
to
the
you
end of our
being in
time?
pain.
Our time is almost.
Yeah, it's almost up.
Hmm?
But I'm not used to you being in pain because you always on the go. Like you walk up that hill better than I could. Always on the go. I couldn't do it. That hill's too much. Aunt Jean, where you go? You left me again? Hello? We need to get you some better internet. I think Aunt Jean want to go eat. She wants to go eat. Her son finished cooking. But I did want to talk to her about the one more thing before she go eat. But if you guys have any other questions, let me know and I will ask her. Yeah, show Aunt Jean some love. Give us some likes. Some likes, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe. But it kicked her off. It kicked her off. I don't know if she's gonna come back on or not, but I had another question to ask her. I can't stand the internet. I was gonna go there to her house or have her come here. And I was thinking to do it that way. But my cousin said he was gonna handle it. So she used his laptop. So but it did what it had to do for 49 minutes though. So we can't complain about it. But I definitely enjoyed the conversation with my aunt. And I told you guys she's the one who like put a lot in on. Here she go.
We're back
There you
again.
go.
Okay. Jonathan came and did it. It's just good. It's all good though. We're gonna survive. We're survivors. We're survivors. I don't know if one thing I started telling people now is that Jesus. I don't know if they're ready for this or not. That Jesus was black. I know for a fact Jesus was black.
You saw?
Yes,
How do
you
you
ask
know?
ask me how do I know?
How do you
Jesus,
know?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph were in the witness protection program, weren't they? Because they were hiding from. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? They were in the witness protection program. If they were white, they would have sent them to Rome, but they sent them to black to be with their people where they could hide out. They wouldn't send white people to Africa, would they?
Oh, gee.
And when I told, I'm in the Catholic Church, and when I told a priest that, he said they have stolen our religion also. So
You told them at the Catholic Church that?
I told one of the priests. I see myself on the 6 o'clock news?
Uh-huh. The Catholic Church?
Yes, but isn't that right? Would they have sent white people to Africa?
Yeah, but oh, gee.
Would they have sent them to Africa?
Yeah. Oh
No,
my.
no. I'm 89 years old. I'm 82 years old. What are they going to do to me? And if I'm expelled from the church, I'll be in good company. I'll be in there with President Biden.
Oh gosh. Miss Busy Peach said, I'm so glad I caught her. Now send her this $5 for me and hugs.
Mm,
I'm gonna send it to you too. So you can
mm.
get coffee or whatever or your McDonald's breakfast.
Oh, Nick, don't forget, Wednesday is National Coffee Day or something. Dunkin' Donuts has a coupon for a $2 cup of coffee or something.
You can
All those
get
little newspapers you see all over the street in Jersey City, there's a coupon in there for free coffee.
you
Little
can get
bags
your
that nobody.
coffee and donut. You can get whatever you
Mm-hmm.
want.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. Coffee
Yeah.
and that's what my husband used to get in the morning when he went to work in Penn Station. Coffee and whatever else you want. Mm-hmm.
Coffee and
Mm-hmm. That's what coffee. What do you want? Coffee and everybody in Penn Station when he used to go, they had a truck out front that could sell coffee until 7 o'clock. The coffee was better outside than it was inside, so everybody went out and bought their coffee.
you drink coffee, right? Yeah.
1 cup of coffee a day. That's it for me now. Just one. No more caffeine. No more caffeine. I had to get off that stuff. And regular milk. I do the. That's why somebody was saying I make my own ice cream now, because I'm not because it saves money, but because I can't get what I want when I go to the store. They don't have um, lactose free ice cream. They have it, and on the side of the container they tell you they have like umpteen flavors, but all I can find in the supermarket is chocolate, vanilla, and some kind of other thing. So I just
Yeah.
started making my own ice cream.
How do you make it?
2 eggs and a cup of sugar that I have pared down to a half a cup and stir, 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 stir until the sugar dissolves. And then you put in 2 cups of heavy cream and a cup and a half of milk and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Stir, 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 stir. And I don't use a blender or ice cream cranker. I just throw it in the freezer. And every so often I go in there and stir it back up until it turns into ice cream, until it freezes.
Wow. See, I will
That,
go and buy an ice cream maker.
I have one. I have one, but I don't use it because see, for this, when I do it in the bowl in the pan, I do it on a saucepan, and it's a 5 minute prep time. If I use an ice cream freezer, I have to go out and buy ice to put down in the freezer. I have to go out and buy special salt to put down in the freezer, and then I have to clean it up when I'm finished.
Made a point.
You know the little containers that you get the food in from the Chinese store, the plastic containers,
Yeah.
the ones that you get the lemonade iced tea. I just divide it in half in each one of those. Now I put one of them. I put 2 tablespoons of Hershey's chocolate and break up 8 Oreo cookies and put those in there. That's 5 star. That's the vanilla. But that's why I'm making the syrup. I put the fruit down in there and I put the syrup in. So that's why I cut down on the sugar, because it'd be too sweet. So I do a half a cup of sugar, and then I have the 2 tablespoons of syrup, and then I have the fruit that has been cooked, and it's works for me.
Where you get that recipe from?
I picked up a cookbook that I don't know where I got the cookbook when they closed down the Pearsall Ranch Library, which was 1980.
Oh, I don't know about this.
It was on Pearsall Avenue, and she gave away some books, and that was one that I took, and I finally looked at it. This thing has 60 or 70 recipes that are just basic recipes. Basic recipes. She has a peach cobbler, how to make fried chicken, how to make hamburger, how to make them. They have a recipe for roast turkey that has 7 ingredients: salt and pepper, and the turkey are 3 of them. Those are the three. Those are 3 ingredients. How much simpler can you get? How much simpler can you get?
Exactly.
Because you get these gourmet magazines and stuff, and they give you these recipes that have like 20 or 30 ingredients, and 2 of them you have to go on the internet to find.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually am doing that myself right now, this very second.
Just simple recipes. Get rid of gourmet. Get rid of gourmet.
I just want something different, because the kids don't always eat what I cook, especially if you make it all the time. They want something different.
What about a lasagna pie?
Now that I had before, but my kids don't eat lasagna.
They don't eat that pie.
My kids are weird. They don't eat
spaghetti pie. Spaghetti pie.
I don't eat that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I made baked spaghetti before, but my kids are very weird. Like, Elijah doesn't eat pizza like that. Elijah doesn't eat French fries. No, he eats French fries, but he don't eat like macaroni and cheese like kids like mashed potatoes. He doesn't eat none of that. So I have to be creative. Like I am. I'm creative. I have to be very creative. So that's why I go online and look up all these recipes and stuff, because I have to be very creative with those kids.
Because I was looking for, it took me a long time to find a recipe for rice pudding, but rice pudding, I thought it was just something simple, and it isn't. That's not a simple thing.
That's not simple.
You have to, and it takes time. It takes time.
My grandpa used to make it all the time. It was the best thing ever. My grandpa, nobody can make it like him. Nobody.
Too bad I didn't get that recipe.
Yeah, I think my mom got it down, but I never really had hers. But yeah, he had a lot of recipes, a lot of good food, like good food.
But I'm
surprised you stopped calling me Shanna. You actually called me Shauna.
I know you want Shauna, but see, I know you were Shauna, and I know a Shanna, and I know there's a girl down at the library. I can't pronounce her name right now because I can't see it. See, they thought I had a stroke last year, September, the same time of year, but it wasn't a stroke. It was an inner ear infection. So I have vertigo, and it did something to my memory. And everybody says, Gene, nobody can remember anything now. Nobody remembers their name. I'll be making a cup of coffee at the kitchen table, and I'll turn around and go in the refrigerator and forget I was going in there. What am I looking for? And I'm looking for the cream for the coffee. Everybody's forgetting stuff.
I do that now.
And that's why I don't feel bad about that. But the one thing that bothers me, I never can remember people's names. I never remember their names. No matter, very few people do I remember their name. And I don't even care anymore. I just tell people, listen, I'm 82 years old. I need to tell me who you are because I'll never
But
remember you.
Aunt Jean, you was doing that when I was like 3 or 4 years
That's
old.
what I said. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna worry about it because I'm my mother's child. If you knew my mother, you know I'm my mother's child. And I have a lot of stuff around here. But if people ask me for as cluttered as I am, one of my nieces, my sister-in-law, was telling me that one of my nieces, she said she's just like the Bransons. She's got just like everybody, just like her grandmother. She's got clutter everywhere, and that's a genetic thing for us to clutter. It's not hoarding or anything like that. It's just clutter. Clutter. It's not dirt. It's clutter. It's just clutter. 5 copies of stuff, and I've got piles of books and whatnot sitting around. And I tied up some books to send to somebody, and I just need. I went out to the post office on Ocean Avenue today, and I meant to take these books with me to give to somebody, but I forgot to take them. I was on the corner by the time I realized I didn't have them. I wasn't gonna come back down the hill and go back out again, so I'll go out there one day on a weekday again and take these books to this lady because I saw her granddaughter and I want to give them something to read. But I need to get these books to people who read them. Now I need to stop holding them for myself so I can read them because I'll never be. If I live to be 150, I'd never be able to read all of these books. I'd never be able to read all of
You said you went to the post office on Ocean?
them. Out by the senior building. I
Why
had
on Ocean?
I had some because the one on Jackson Avenue is so difficult and so backward. Um,
Oh, because I was about to say, like, why did you go the opposite way when this one is right here?
but I had something else to do.
Oh,
Somebody had some flowers hanging in the street, and I wanted 3 cuttings, so I got those. They were in the bus stop, so I got a couple cuttings and got on the bus and came home.
okay. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Okay.
Mhm. But
Oh,
oh, in case anybody's interested, at Christ the King on Sunday afternoon, Sunday coming up on the 3rd, they're going to bless the animals. Anybody wants to bring their animals to Christ the King, they're going to bless our animals. I'm not taking my cat though. I'm not going to take
why?
because I'm not going. I'm not going to put him on a leash because when I last time I took him to the vet, he turned into a wild creature. He was absolutely wild. And before they told me I had to leave the room, I was leaving the room. They had to go get the leather gloves to come up to your shoulder and whatnot, because he came out like a wildcat. And they were holding the girl was holding him by the front of his body, under his leg, and his back feet were just flying. And he looked like a oh goodness, his all of his teeth were showing, all his claws were out. And I figured if he got away from them, he was going to run over behind me and hide and dig his claws in. So I just left the room.
Oh, wow.
He was
Yeah.
he was and he did get away from them because he was running up on the sink when I left the room. I said, "Let me get out of here and close this door."
What? Oh my God. I thought my cat would be bad.
Hmm.
I think yours is worse.
But I saw something on television for cats that calms them down. Well, dogs. They said dogs, but I'm sure a cat might like this. It's a little stuffed animal, and it has a little ticker inside that sounds like a heartbeat, and it's warm.
Oh, yeah. My cat probably
But
won't
and they
want
said give it to your dog. But people go out and they leave their dogs at home during the day. And somebody bought me flippity fish for my cat. My cat wasn't impressed by flippity fish
Yeah, my
at all,
cat is
and
not
it's laying
impressed
in the
by a
middle.
lot.
That kind of stuff. But one thing I do have, I don't have to worry about him scratching up anything because I have a ladder. I always have a ladder. I always had a ladder ever since I had my own house. I always had a ladder, and he likes to sit on the ladder and scratch, and you can hear him how it sounds through the lumber. When he's there, he climbs up the ladder and he'll sit on the top and watch you, and then he'll go from the ladder to up on top of the refrigerator, or he'll go from there up on top of one of the cabinets. And he just sits. Sometimes he sits up there and sleeps. But he's interesting. He's interesting. He likes to hang out the window and look and see what's going on in the backyard. But he doesn't want to go out. He is not going to go out. Jonathan said he tried to go out the door with him and he was not happy at all.
Yeah. My
But
cat
right
doesn't
now,
want to go out.
but we
Not at all.
also have right now somebody came down the street in a couple months ago and threw a cat out of the car into the street. And my son went out, Jonathan went out and rescued him and fed him, gave him water and food and everything. And he has adopted our neighborhood. So we have a
Oh
community.
yeah, your community cat.
Yeah. And he keeps, I call him Joel, like the one on the clothes or on television. And people keep saying he keeps dropping mice on the front porch because they're really, he's getting fresh salmon, he's getting steaks, he's getting all tuna fish, water, and all the things to keep hairballs down. But he likes it in here in my apartment. I was on the front porch. The plumber was coming to do some work on Friday morning, and he heard my voice. He was sitting on the porch. One of the neighbors has a big pillow for him where he sleeps on the porch. And he came galloping across the street like he was a horse, all fours, just flying across the street. And he wanted to come in. So I fed him outside, and then he came on in and prowled around in the hall. Then he prowled around in my apartment because he was eating in the hall. We have 3 feeding stations, one on the front porch, one in here, and one in the hall, and one across the hall in the apartment over there. So he was eating at the thing, and my cat didn't know he was in the hall. So I opened the door and my cat went out. And when he realized he wasn't the only cat in the hall, he just sat there and looked at the other cat. So then I just left him out there and let the other one come in and prowl around for a few minutes. And then after he looks around, he sniffs, but he doesn't want to use kitty litter. So he wants to go back outside. Once he eats, he's going to go back outside. And this is what everybody likes about him. Who ever heard of a cat that doesn't have to have kitty litter changed?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Because
Mhm.
that's the worst part of having a cat is that kitty litter.
Changing that kitty litter and buying it. That stuff is heavy. The box we get probably weighs about 10, 15 pounds. It's heavy, really heavy. I don't like to carry it unless I have a car, but Jonathan will bring it home. But it's hard to find too. The
Yeah.
Fabrice does a fantastic kitty litter. If you want to think of, and he likes to play in the kitty litter. He's not in the litter box. He just pushes. If he can get it out of the box, he puts it all over the bathroom floor, and he just lays in it and plays in it with his paws and whatnot. I think he likes Chinese. What is it? Japanese sand art?
That's why I was looking at my son, because that's what my cat started doing, playing in the kitty litter. Just playing in it. And I'm like, why is she doing this? Just out of the blue. But I looked it up and they said that it's not it's common for cats to do that. I don't know. I'm learning a whole lot about this cat. I had cats before, but this cat is different, like way different than any cat I ever had. But I know you gotta go eat. I know you hungry, so I'm gonna let you go.
I'm gonna say one other thing though. My cat won't drink water out of the food dish. So the top from the Tropicana, I have one in the bathroom sink, and he drinks out of that. And where's the other one he drinks from? Oh, we have a big container in the kitchen sink, and we have to keep water in that. And then somebody said that cats like to see the water moving, because he'll put his paw in there and splash it around a little bit and drink from it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Because I see footprints on the sink and in the tub.
Oh, okay.
So I think that makes sense.
Put a little bowl or something in there then for him, keep it full, and he'll sit in there and drink water. And see, when I first got this cat, he was like fit in my hand because he had been out overnight next door in a thunderstorm. So that's why if it's raining, he won't go outside, but he'll sit in the window and look at the rain now. But now he was like, I used to sit with him up under my chin, and he would sit here. Now, if I put him up, first of all, I can't get him up here because he's too crazy. And he's huge. He's huge now. He weighs about 11 pounds. I would weigh, how you weigh a cat, I would weigh myself and then let the scale go back to 0. Then I would pick him up and subtract one from the other.
That makes sense. I would have never thought of that. I was trying to put my cat on one of them little scales that I used to mail. And she would run off of it. And I used to try to put her back on and she would run off. But she won't let me pick her up to do that. So I wouldn't be able to do that.
And the only place he would sit in my lap and go to sleep is if I was sitting in the bathroom. He would come and get up in my lap and sit there and curl up and go to sleep. So I had to sit there until he was finished his nap. Or sometimes I would just tell him, look, I got to get out of here now. I can't be sitting here all day long.
In the
Because
bathroom?
he comes in
That's
every time I
weird.
go. I can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning and go to the bathroom, and he'll come in there and eat his food and sit there until I'm coming out.
Wow. Interesting.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
did have one more thing I wanted to remind you. You remember you taught me how to draw blood?
Yeah, yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
that crazy how you taught
Mhm.
me how to do certain things and then I
When did I
mastered
teach you
all
that?
of it?
Were you working for LabCorp then?
I was not working for LabCorp then. I was working in the doctor's office, but I
Hmm.
had to draw my sister's blood and I didn't want to do it. And you were
Hmm.
like, girl, you can do this. Like, that was one thing about you. You always used to be like, girl, you called me like
Hmm.
you was my girlfriend.
That was easy to do though, because when I went into hospitals as a student, the first day they had this girl take me out on the floor to draw blood. They called them arm jags. We weren't doing venipunctures; we were doing arm jags. And the first patient we came to, this is Jean Bransford. She's from Mount Aloysius Junior College, and she's here as a student, and she's going to take your blood today. And he had veins that were like the Holland Tunnel. So, and of course I got him. So I never, everything else was downhill. But when they did there, the doctors there, when the babe infants had to have blood drawn, they would go in here. They would do the jugular.
Yeah.
And if that's after a week, up until a week, they would go right in the top of the fontanelle.
Oh no,
They didn't
no, no.
they didn't play, and I learned what they did. And my job, everybody, this was standard operation, SOP, what they call SOP, standard operational procedure. That's what they did. So I never went in the top of there, and I never did a jugular. But I've had a patient cry, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me for the doctors. Don't leave me for the doctors. Look in the top of
Oh.
my foot. I said, but I've never done a blood in the top of the foot. Don't leave me for the doctors. Go ahead and take it from my foot. So I did it, you know. I worked out at the prison on Eastern State across from the airport, and one
Mhm.
guy came. This was the only place he hadn't taken blood for himself. So this is where he told me I had to take a blood for him. One guy came and dropped his pants. Here, here. I said, no, no, no. You do that one yourself. I'm not doing that. But I never had any problems. And when I was a student at that same place, my job on weekends was to go and sharpen the needles and clean the needles. And we started out with a needle that was like 1.5, 2 inches long. And by the time we got finished, it would be like this. And that's when they would get rid of it. But that was a very progressive hospital, Altoona Hospital in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, because they had machines out there that nobody else had. And when I came back, I learned hematology there. I learned chemistry there, and I was going into what else? Hematology and chemistry. I was going into histology, and that's when they asked me to leave. But so when I came back here, my first job was Christ Hospital. I knew how to do hematology. I knew um, what else? What the other thing I said was chemistry, but um, he for some reason he put me in histology, so I learned how to do histology, the tissue stuff. And when I went to St. Michael's to finish my as a student, I knew I was work. I wasn't a student. I was working. I could do lab work. I could do chemistry, and I could do histology. And the people in histology said my frozen sections looked better than the ones that the doctors were doing. I said that's because we do. I was doing it as a student. I could practice, practice, practice. The doctors had to do it and get back and do the diagnosis. But I enjoyed working in the lab. I had a good time. Always,
Yeah, I loved it. I
always.
enjoyed it. It was
Hmm.
it was the day that you helped me. Before that, I would not draw blood at
Hmm.
all
Hmm.
whatsoever. My boss kept saying, "You got to do it. You got to do it." And I'm
Hmm.
like, "I don't want
Hmm.
to do it. I don't want to do it." And then I had to draw my sister's blood. I had the stuff. I brought it home and I said, "Nope, I'm not doing it." My
Hmm.
mom said, "Call you." And you came over and you kind of yelled at me like, "You could do this. You see this right here." And but what you did that the school didn't do was show me. It was like a rubber band. Like,
Hmm.
you just did it and it popped back
Hmm.
up. That's how you know it's a
Hmm.
vein. And
Hmm.
I'm like, that was the simplest thing ever. Ever since then, I was like the best one ever at LabCorp, the doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody said they rather come to me. And it was only because I guess you had a way of words or a way of showing me how to do it that they didn't, because that's what I was scared of. I didn't want to stick anybody and not get a vein.
Mm-hmm.
But just like 2 or 3 words you said just caught
But that's
on.
what they taught me. That's what they taught me. That's what they taught me.
But you would think
And
they would tell other people that.
but they can't teach what they don't know, Ann, Shauna. They can't
Oh, you
teach what
go,
they don't
Mama.
know. They can't teach what they don't know. And that's the thing. They have too many teachers that don't know what they're doing. I
That's
know that
true.
now because they can't get blood from me, and I got veins popping all over me. One of the I had a nurse. I had to take blood on a nurse one day, and she was kind of chubby. Her arms were pudgy. And she said, "You're gonna have trouble getting blood from me." So I told her. She said, I put the tourniquet on her. And I said, "Close your eyes." And she said, "What?" I said, "Now find me a vein." And she found it. And I said, "The doctor, you all are looking at the diagrams that you see in the books, and you're
Yep.
gonna find the vein there, whether there's bone or what." But I
Yep.
said, you don't look for the vein, you feel for the vein. Put the tourniquet on, you feel, and it's like a water hose.
You
It's like a
told
water
me to close my eyes and put my finger there and feel it. And that was like it
Yeah.
clicked because I was like,
Mhm.
that's not what they taught us. That is not what they taught me at all. So when you did that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna master this. Because I was able to feel my
Mhm.
way through. I would always turn around, close my eyes, and look. I know
Mhm.
people thought I was crazy, but that's exactly how I would do it.
Well, that nurse came back. The next time she came back, she said, "I haven't missed a patient since you told me that."
See,
Missed a patient.
see, I was good. I was good at what I did. And then
Mhm.
who would have known you was gonna teach me how to do crochet? And I'm good at what I do that.
Do that. You got that right. You got that right. Mhm. 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 All you need is a
Yeah.
little security. You need to believe what you can do. They said, well, that's what the black teachers taught us down south. You can do whatever you want to do. Because I tell people that when Joyce came out of high school, I think there might have been 25 or 30 people in her class, and they only went to 11th grade anyway. Black kids in Maryland only went to 11th grade because they said they don't need 12 years because they're not going to college anyway with their 11th grade. Everybody went in Joyce's class except maybe 2 or 3 people, and one of them already had a job. So he was working in construction. So he didn't need to go to college to work construction because they were going to teach him what he needed. And one girl that went with Joyce and them, we still a lot of homes down there still didn't have running water. They didn't have electricity. This girl went to college. She finished college in 3 years because she never went back home.
Oh wow.
Because she had never been in a place that had a shower. She had never been in a place where they had electricity. She had never been in a place where they had running water. So
And
she
she
just
finished
she got,
in 3 years. I would have stayed another year.
yeah. But that's what when she came out, she could go to work. She didn't have to go back to live in a
Oh
house with
yeah,
no
that's
running water.
true.
That kind of
Wow.
stuff. She had a career and she had a profession now. And I don't remember who it was, but I know one of Joyce's classmates never went back home. Never went back home.
Wow. Well, I
And
know on Joyce, I don't even yes, I do. I was about to say I didn't know what she went to school for, but she was a teacher.
education,
Yeah.
education, education. Hmm.
Yeah.
That was something. That was really something. And people asked me, "Did we have running water?" I said, "Yeah, we had running water. We ran down the hill and ran back up with it. We had to carry water up the hill for a long time."
That's probably why you're still walking around now because like I said, you go up and down that hill better than I do.
I just go. I just go because people ask me, "Do I have a driver's license?" Yes, I have a driver's license, but we never see you in a car because I don't have one, and the buses don't go where I want to go. Even if I had, I mean, and there's no place to park a car in Jersey City anyway.
Mm-mm. Nope. Nope, not at all.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everybody got 2 and 3 cars now,
Hmm. And
not
no
just
place to
one.
put them.
And no
No.
place to put exactly, and no
Mhm,
place to put
mhm,
them. I
mhm,
don't know. I'm ready to go. So when you go, can you take me?
mhm, mhm. I want to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I don't want to go there.
I want to go. I want to go there and see what it's like now. Maybe I can go out there and make a difference for somebody, for the Native Americans in Taft, Oklahoma, or something. Because I know they have a hard. They still have a hard time in Taft. It's it, at one time, Mama said they wanted to take their zip code away from them or something. But Judy and I spent a year out there,
In
and
Oklahoma?
mhm, mhm. I did third grade out there, and Judy did 11th grade. And because they had 12th grade out there, she couldn't graduate. But when she came back home, she had to do 11th grade over again.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Boring, boring,
It was
boring.
boring.
To do the 11th grade twice, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You learned something new.
Hopefully, but like I said, they taught us what they taught us was you can do whatever you wanted to do, and everybody. I don't know anybody who came out unsuccessful, and everybody doesn't. Everybody went to college, but everybody didn't finish. But if you can finish, if you can come out of school after one semester and run your life, then that's what you needed. You didn't need a
Right.
degree. You didn't need a degree. That's what
Right.
I feel. I did 2 years and that was it. And I did 2 years in college and 1 year in the hospital. And that qualified me, grandfathered me in as having a 4 year degree. And that worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
Worked for me.
Yep. You were good at what you did. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's good. But I do
Mhm.
want to mention that you are a survivor like I am.
Yes. Yes, I
Breast
am.
cancer survivor. So we're both breast cancer survivors. How long ago was it?
Uh, excuse me. The last time was 13 years ago, 2013. 2013. Because I remember Somali came home from, Somali was stationed in California and she came home for that. But I had a modified mastectomy after that. After
I
that,
don't know what that is. What's a
they just
modified?
without taking out all of the muscle, all the way around the back. He just did the front. But I look like
Oh,
you look at the scar. I look like I had an open heart surgery because the scar goes all the way back to my spine almost, and it's puffy. But I had my first, absolutely my first lumpectomy was 1967, 2 years after Debbie was born,
oh
and
wow.
it was always on the right side, always on the right side. I've had about 9 surgeries, lumpectomies, and lymph glands on both sides, and it's just. And when I had the modified mastectomy, like that was to me that was radical, but because the scar goes from here all the way to the back, and they did the surgery at 10 o'clock in the morning. He wanted to send me home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know. I'm gonna lay up here and get 2 or 3 good meals off of you. I just
So
couldn't
you
go. But I
stayed
just
in the hospital for a day?
Christ Hospital always had good food. Even when that was my first job in 1959. They had good food. Always had good food. If you had a special diet, they had to give you your food in a special diet, like salt free or protein free or high protein or whatever. Because it was a Jewish hospital, and they had people who could take care of that. But they just and the lab, the people that worked in the lab always got free food, and you could always tell where the lab went because we had one of everything, and we never cleaned up behind ourselves. Never cleaned up behind ourselves. And
I I
our
love
boss,
Christ Hospital, but I didn't like their food.
you didn't like their food? They were good. And free
Mm-mm.
television.
It
Free
wasn't free when
television.
I was there. It
It's
was
free now.
not
Oh, you
free.
work there? You work there?
I didn't know when I actually was a patient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where I had chemo at Christ Hospital. I had
Really?
chemo there. Did you know that I was
What?
the youngest one in Jersey City at that time? I don't know if I am now. I don't think
I
so.
thought
But
you went someplace else for recovery. Didn't you
for
go out of
chemo?
state for that?
No,
Mm-hmm.
for chemo, I went to Christ Hospital. For
Mm-hmm.
my the surgery, my lumpectomy, I went to Newark, the
Mm-hmm. University?
UNCWA. Yeah, I went
Mm-hmm.
there
Mm-hmm.
for the lumpectomy, and the doctors were here in Jersey City. I only went to the one in Newark is because the doctor that I worked for, he wanted me to go to like the best doctors because I was young. I was 25.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I went to North. And what they told me then and what they're telling me now, they said I should have just got a mastectomy,
Mm-hmm.
because a double mastectomy, because I was 25.
Mm-hmm.
And your chances of getting it again is high. But
Mm-hmm.
they didn't explain that to me back then. So I am considering it now, because now I'm in my 40s. So now you're at the point where you do have to get mammograms. That's what they tell you. They tell you your
Mm-hmm.
baseline should be in your 30s, but you get your mammogram every year when you're in your 40s. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm thinking like really, really, really seriously getting a double mastectomy. And that's what because one of the I was that's the question I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you a question before you left. Well, not before you left, before the internet froze.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my question. When I was 25 and they told me that I didn't need the mastectomy, all they said is I can make a choice if I wanted the lumpectomy or if I did want the mastectomy. And I said, "What's this? What was the difference?" And they said there was no difference. But now I'm being told there is a difference. There's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think now, like, is it in the genes that we're getting cancer or environmental? Because I had it the same exact time as my grandma.
In New Jersey, it might be in your genes, and it's definitely environmental. It's definitely environmental in New Jersey. Now, I can't say because I can't really say. I don't know. Both of us are gone. Um, I don't know. I really couldn't say because I don't want to. I don't want to mislead people. But when I was ready to go years ago, when I had the first time I had cancer, they wanted me to go to a doctor, and they sent me to a doctor, an Indian doctor, and I don't even care whether they get upset about that or not. But when I went there, he just looked at my folder and he says, "I can't do you now. I want you to go for radiation first." I went for radiation. And when I went back, they said he's not doing anybody now that's Medicare. He's not doing any Medicare patient. So I said, and they were closing down hospitals. And I said, well, they're closing down hospitals and he doesn't want to do me. So I got to get the hell out of Jersey City. And I went to Hackensack. And I didn't have a car. And it was a 2-hour trip from door to door. But Hackensack, when I came to work in 1959 in New Jersey, was like heads and shoulders above everybody else as far as I could understand. Because I went out there and put in an application one time for, somewhere along the line. But I went up there and I had done some oncology work for a doctor at St. Mary's Hospital who came from Hackensack. And that was years before. He was actually deceased by the time I went up there. But by the time I went up there, I got his partner. Now, I didn't know he was Dr. I can't even think of his name. Anyway, whoever his name was, Joe Blow. I didn't know he was Joe Blow's partner, but he knew that I knew his partner. So he took care of me. I got good treatment, door to door. When I went in, the first thing they never let you sit down. They kept you hopping. You need a parking. They didn't wait for you to ask for a parking thing. They gave. Do you have a car? You want a ticket, sticker, or whatever? You want a discount? They had snacks. They had coffee and everything there for you. So in case you had, but you didn't get a chance to wait. Soon as you sat down, Gene, come in here. They would do my blood work. Gene, come in here. You have to go do that. And they kept you going. They had a long area. I'd say about 20 feet. There's 20 feet on both sides. They had a library all the way around. You could look at the books you wanted. The first thing they did was give you a shot to keep you from getting an upset stomach. And the little busy bees, they would come out. The volunteers would come out. Would you like something to eat? So you could eat before you got your chemotherapy. I never got sick. I would come out. They would do the chemotherapy maybe 45 minutes to an hour. I would go across the street in the bodega and get a snack to eat on the bus when I was coming back. I would eat until I had to do a transfer station. So I got the bus to the transfer station. and I would get on either the bus to Newark or Jersey City, whichever one was going out next. I had eaten my food, so I wasn't hungry. I would sleep all the way to the station and then go home and go back to sleep. I never missed choir rehearsal. I never missed church, and I never missed anything. I went to church 7 days a week. I never missed anything. I never had a problem. The only thing was my hair came out. I did lose my hair, and I would wear a scarf or a hat or something I would be standing in line. And one day I was standing in line ready to parade down with the choir. And I said, I took the scarf and I threw it off just like it was a G string. And I don't know who got the scarf, but I never got it back. And nobody knew I was sick. I didn't act sick and I didn't look sick, and they couldn't figure out why my girlfriend Diane had them praying for me every Sunday. But nobody knew I had cancer because I didn't have any symptoms. I just took the scarf, and then I had a bald head, and they were looking at me like, "What happened to you?" That's the first they knew I had cancer.
There? What made you do that?
I just didn't feel like wearing the scarf anymore. I did not feel like wearing the scarf. I just took it, and I was not a bit of hair on my head. Not a bit of hair on my head.
You
have back.
Oh my God.
And I did go. Somebody took one of the girls, Rita McKnight, took me over to Newark to a seminar workshop, and they had about 100 people, and they gave us all kinds of information. And I know this is something that most people have a problem with. They give you so much information. You can do this, you can do that, take this medicine. This is the things, all these stuff. And when they finished asking questions, I got up and I said, I have a question. I said, I understand most of what you put up there because I'm an MT. And I said, but what I can't figure out is, who do we talk to? I said, you all have given us so much information. I said, most of the people here are overwhelmed. I have no idea. I don't have money to go to Switzerland for treatment, that kind of stuff. Who do we listen to? And the guy was stumped. The guy who was speaking at the time and had the podium didn't know what to say. So an older doctor came up and said, you talk to the person that listens to you. That's I'm telling that for all the people that listen.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
You talk to the person that listens to you.
Yeah.
And that was an older doctor with gray hair. Nobody else could figure that out. They gave me all this kind of, what do they call it? Gobbledygook and stuff. Nobody understands this. And books up to here. The girl told me, she said, you don't seem to want to care. I said, no, I don't care. You're just going to save my life. And she said, but I have to tell you all this. You have to sign that I'm going again. I'm back.
You back? I can't see you. Oh, yeah, I see you. Man. I
don't know if you can hear us or not.
Yeah, I could.
But I'm going to sign. Do you want to sign off now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you.
Okay, we're going to sign off now because we've been here almost. We went on here an hour and a half. You're not going to give. That's something. I'm one of those people who give me a microphone. Did you ever do lithium levels on people?
No.
Lithium. You ever do lithium levels on people? I said, I'm like somebody who's been on lithium. It's something that keeps them moving. And when we used to do lithium levels on people, we would have to pry them out of the chair because they would be talking and talking and talking. We couldn't get rid of them. Look, you got to go home. You don't even have to go home, but you have to get out of that chair. They just talk, and I just talk. You can't turn me off. All right.
But I thank you. They love you. Everybody loved you. Thank you for coming back on. Maybe you could come back another time.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
Okay, thanks a lot, Shauna, for this this opportunity. This is the only thing I've done like this is talk to David when he was in Afghanistan, my oldest son. When he was in Afghanistan on New Year's one night, we talked for like an hour. And I've never done this before. Okay. Peace out, everybody. Blessings.
All right, bye.
Blessings for everybody. Pray for everybody. I'll pray for everybody in your group. Okay.
Aw, thank you. Have a good one. Okay, all right. Thank you for joining. Everybody love on Jean. So, yeah, so that's it. You guys have a good one, and I will see you again on Sunday. Sunday, Chronicles of a Crochet Diva. And yeah, if you missed the beginning, go back, and you check it out. But you guys have a good one.